Let's see. Opening prayer 3 times, please. Miracles and beings of happiness and cause of happiness. May they be free from suffering and the cause of the suffering. May they never be part from this blind bliss that is free from suffering. May they live in a state of anonymity, free from judgment and aversion to those near and far. May all sentient beings have happiness and the cause of happiness. May they be free from suffering and the cause of the suffering. May they never be part from this blind bliss that is free from suffering. May they remain in a state of equanimity, free from attachment and aversion to those near and far. May all sentient beings have happiness and cause of happiness. May they be free from suffering and the cause of suffering. May they never be apart from this blind bliss that is free from suffering. May they remain in a state of equanimity, free from attachment and aversion to those near and far. Welcome back. All right. Okay. Now, we talked about the 3 afflictions, 3 animals, and we talked about 6 realms a little bit. We talked about the white and dark circles. Now I'm going to talk about the toe links, okay? Because when we are talking about the wheel of life, we are actually talking about dependent origination. So usually, as you know, there are 2 different kinds of dependent origination, right? Tender. One kind deals with the things that are on the outside. That's Tibetan we call shi timder. And the other kind is about things on the inside, our life, nang timder. So, you see, we understand that all beings' life will change by cause and conditions, right? So when we see the wheel of life with the toe links, it is described in a circle where there is no beginning and no end. So this wheel of life is very important to study, right? Now, how do these toe links work? So we have to understand each link is the cause of the following link, and each following link is the effect of the previous link. Okay, that's why I say toe links is caused in conditions, So this is very important to remember, the connection between links. Now here again we have the pig, right? Ignorance. I'm sorry for pig. Pig ignorance that caused the idea of a dualistic world, which lead to, remember, ego cleaning. Ego cleaning. Then we accumulate negative karma because ego cleaning. So here again, karma literally means what? Action, right? Action, karma. You should remember that when people say karma, karma is action. And more specifically refers to the process of cause and effect. Therefore, everything that we experience is the result of our karma. That's why everything that we experience is the result of our action. So we create the cause by our actions, and we experience their result. That's very important to understand, I think, generally speaking. So means like don't say, I don't believe in karma, you know. If you don't believe in karma, that means you really still you need to develop your wisdom, learn, study. And because as I said, you know, we believe in our action, you know. So in cause and effect and our action, then that means if you believe cause and effect and the action, cause and effect need action, right? Needs time, movement. So if you believe that, then actually you believe in karma. So generally speaking, we have an outer life and we have an inner life. Inner life is spiritual sort of development. And to be successful in inner life, we must practice the teachings. Padmasambhava said, at the time when the intermediate state of this life and this life, intermediate state of this life appears to us, he said, please abandon your laziness since there is no time to waste, and establish yourself in the meaning of, again, hearing, contemplating, and meditating without distraction or laziness, you know. So as I said, we actually, if you really concern your life and think about it, there's not much time left, you know. So that's why don't, you know, waste your time. Padmasambhava, that's why I said, you know, please abandon laziness. Laziness is obstacle, right, for our meditation. So sometimes, you know, we're lazy because no energy, sometimes busy, so many things. But when we, if we are thinking about our life, the well of life, then actually we don't have much time. So we should think sort of carefully how many years have already gone by since we were born, and nothing. We did nothing, just busy and the worldly life, there's no end. And how many years are still to go, that's hard. We really don't know. But we know sort of how many years have already gone, right? And if we did something good within those years, then we rejoice, dedicate it. If we didn't do anything good, now it's time to start. Now, we're talking about toe lengths here, okay? So which is, if you look at the picture, the outside kind of this ring, the wheel. So there are toe lengths, okay? There are toe lengths. So the first link is pig, ignorance. So you see on the image, there is an old blind person with a cane, you see? So means who cannot find his way and who doesn't see sort of where he is going. So these symbolize ignorance, first link. Because the person is old, because ignorance driving the process of samsara is beginningless. And the person is blind because ignorance blocks our wisdom, awareness, wisdom. And ignorance obscures the true nature of mind, So it blocks. The ignorance blocks our awareness, our true nature. So that's why the person is blind. And the Buddhist definition of ignorance is not understanding karma, cause and effect. More importantly, not understanding the true nature of the reality, because from the relative point of view, ignorance arises from self-centered view. So in Tibetan we say Dagzen means grasping at a self.
Could you repeat that?
Grasping at a self. As long as we have grasping at a self, this is the problem, then we will be in samsara for a while, for sure. So ignorance means not knowing the truth, okay? Ignorance block our wisdom, the true nature, okay? That's the definition of ignorance. Ignorance doesn't mean that we say, oh, we have ignorance. It doesn't mean that we don't know anything. Actually, we know a lot, maybe too much, but the main thing is we don't know the true nature, it blocks the wisdom, awareness. Means like we don't perceive things very clearly. And when we talk about ignorance, you remember there are two different types of ignorance. In our the prayer of Samantabhadra, there are two types of ignorance. Ignorance. So one is convergence ignorance, and then conceptual kind of ignorance. So convergent ignorance is arising simultaneously with our mind. Han Qi means like simultaneously with our mind. It is together with every movement of our mind. That's why. Which, every movement of our awareness. We know awareness is there, but each moment we don't recognize it. So we miss it all the time because of this co-emergence ignorance. Awareness is always there. The true nature of mind is always there. But we just don't recognize it, so we miss it all the time. It's because of this co-emergent ignorance. This ignorance is simultaneously with our mind. So therefore, we don't see it. We don't see the true nature. So this convergent ignorance is not the conceptual mind, but it is fundamental ignorance. That's why we all share sort of this ignorance, even like including animals and all beings. And then the second ignorance is labeling, right? Labeling ignorance. At this point, we are beginning to go through the process of labeling, the process of imagination, and the process of conceptualization. And co-emergent ignorance is the basis for the labeling ignorance or conceptual ignorance. The second ignorance, the labeling ignorance, is like the wave from the ocean, but it's very subtle and it has many different layers. So these two ignorances are the ground of the confusion of all sentient beings. So they are the fundamental cause of all samsaric illusions. So everyone enters into samsara, the well of life, depending on all of these cause and conditions, and we continue to develop ignorance, attachment, and anger because of we have, remember, grasping to the self, right? To the self, I, mine, me, you. So we feel very strongly we have a permanent self. That's usually people believe. And we become very attached to this idea, the self. So that is the fundamental cause and problem, So this is the development of ego cleaning, Grasping at a permanent self. This is because of our habitual misunderstanding about a permanent self. For instance, we think this body is the same body that I have had for all time, right? Many years, right? So that's why this is a big misunderstanding, according to Buddhist philosophy, This body, we have this permanent idea, Every time we're talking about something like body, The moment we think about it, we think in terms of, a whole sort of unit, which is not true, which is not totally true at all. So, there is no such thing as a body, The body is, when we sort of learn and, develop our wisdom and investigate the body is made by so many things, But we think just one unit, permanent. And that is ignorance. That is ignorance. Okay? Ignorance doesn't mean, I can't read this or I can't do this and that. That's not ignorance, right? Ignorance, this is the ignorance. I have my body. Because that's, you see, you don't recognize the true nature of your body. So that is ignorance. So right now we're talking about the first link, right? Then also when we talk about the body, it is already gone, okay? Even this moment, for instance, the hand is different. It has to be, otherwise it will not work. It will not work. But we don't think like that, right? We don't think like that. So you may think, what is wrong with that? If I say my body is same as yesterday's body, what's wrong with that? If you think about deeply, there is something fundamentally wrong. So when we have that misunderstanding, then we will have different kinds of expectations, right? Because of the permanent, the idea, the permanent. And then it causes lots of problems because of all different kinds of expectations. Emotions cause lots of problems. So now you see why? Because of ignorance. Because ignorance caused the idea of a dualistic mind. That's what we call dualistic mind. So we need to, Buddhists say, we need to find a way to eliminate this pig, okay, this ignorance. So the main purpose of all the teachings of the Buddha is to remove ignorance by the realization of ultimate truth. That is the purpose of all Buddhist teaching. So then we have so many different ideas and instructions, method, teachings, how, remove ignorance. So therefore, in this life, we talk about developing a meaningful life, which is trying to eliminating this ignorance, our ignorance, because all other sort of aspects of the well of life are dependent on this life, okay? So this well of life is very important, even if you don't want to practice, but just have a normal life. I think it is still important to remember how to live correctly in this will of life. Okay, that is the first link, ignorance. Now the second link, the mental formation or action, okay, is symbolized here by a busy person, you see, busy person who is making a different part, okay? And he is involved in all kinds of actions, okay? Mental, physical, and verbal actions, motivated by wholesome and unwholesome, these mental factors. So this is mental action. So this action arises again from ignorance. So these actions create different karma, and different karma brings different results. The moment after we create karma, the action itself has passed and is gone, but it leaves a strong habitual tendency on our minds that remains there until it either manifests in the future as a pleasant or unpleasant experience. So these habitual tendencies cause us to move next stage of existence, okay, which is the third link. The third link is consciousness. It's symbolized by a monkey. You see it, right? A monkey. And monkey, doesn't stay in a one place. It jumps all over, right? So that is our minds. Our mind don't stay one place. Follow so many thoughts one after another. It's like a monkey, So this is our consciousness. So, symbolized by monkey, So when we talk about consciousness, there are two kinds of consciousness. One is the kind that goes with us from one birth to the next, okay? That means there is always continuation of consciousness. When we say there is always continuation, we're talking about past and future, okay? This is very important. That's why this morning I talked a lot about karma, okay, cause and actions. So now, continuation, we're talking about life, the consciousness. So we're talking about past, we're talking about future, okay? This is very important. If we think that there is no past and no future life, then I think we need to prove three things, at least three things. First, if we say that there is no past life, okay, then we must prove that our consciousness, okay, doesn't exist before we are born. Do you understand? Doesn't exist. We must know. We must prove that our consciousness doesn't exist before we are born. Okay? If we know that, then we can say there is no past life. Okay? Because we know our consciousness doesn't exist before we are born. That is first proof. And the second thing we need to prove is that our consciousness doesn't come from any other things. Okay? It comes from just our body or our brain. That is second proof. And then third thing we must prove is that it was the brain or body that produced this consciousness. Okay? That is the third proof. Without proving at least these three things, we cannot disprove the existence of past and future life. Easy way to understand, for instance, to prove a smoke arises from fire, okay? First, we must know that this smoke didn't exist before this fire, okay? Second, we must know that the smoke comes from just this fire, not from some other phenomenon, some other, come from, we need to know that. And then third, we must know that it was the fire, this fire, that produced this smoke. We need to know that clearly. Then you can say this smoke, I'm 100% sure this smoke comes from this fire. Then we can say that. Without this proof, then we can't say there is no past life, there is no future life. So I think it's important to understand this, because all of these causes and results and karma are related to this consciousness. Okay, the third link, this consciousness. So we are talking about, this consciousness, the consciousness that we have right now. We're talking about that here. So all the habitual patterns of our good and bad karma accumulate upon our minds, right? And these habitual patterns of different karma can only be placed in consciousness, not in sort of material things. Because first, the continuum of our physical sort of form, the body, will end, okay? And the second, because physical matter is not clarity, and it has no ability to hold the habitual patterns of karma. So all of this, therefore, these are related to our consciousness. That's why very important to understand, especially we have so many different consciousness, but the ground consciousness. So that's why I'm talking about these things here. The consciousness we're talking about here occurs immediately after the previous life, okay? So which is mental action, right? So this quality is given the name, what do you call it? Sarcha in Tibet, like cognizance, In Tibet, sarcha, sarcha means that there is a sort of readiness to perceive, and there is readiness to think. It's amazing, these abilities, the qualities. So there are many different types of thoughts that come from this consciousness. The consciousness is the mind, right, which perceives the different, aspects of objects. So, you see, this is the third link, right? Monkey. Picking sort of, a fruit, right, from the tree, I think. But the symbolized by monkey is actually doesn't stay one place. That's why our consciousness or our mind always thinking, wandering all over, right? So that's why. But the third link is actually related to the second link, which is the mental action, mental formation. And when we're talking about the consciousness, we're talking about our life, okay? Our body, of course, right, will end, this body, and then turn into something. That's also, our body is also no end, turn into something. And that produce something and then turn into something like that. That's samsara, it goes around. Even like our body will not disappear. But especially our consciousness, our mind, goes into the next life. So that's why I think it's very important. For instance, if you don't believe future life, you're totally fine now. You have everything that you need. Probably you don't have to worry anything about. You're just fine. Just, then Pamasambhava said, please don't be lazy. That's fine. You can be lazy. You don't need to do anything. You don't have to practice. If you don't just, if you have a calm mind, okay? You have a calm mind, like healthy mind, healthy body, then you're just fine. You don't have to worry about in future, You think this is the life. When I die, everything ends, disappear. Then why worry about in future, right? Nothing to worry about. So you have everything you need now. So maybe sometimes your mind is wander all over and it's very difficult, negative emotion. Maybe you need sometimes like practice a little bit shamatha, whatever, something like that, right? Just for temporary, meditation like that. But if there is future life, we need to be careful. That's the thing. Because our future life depends on this life. Right? Because now you see, we talk about the actions, cause and conditions. We're talking about the habitual patterns that goes into next life. So for instance, this life, this life is come from my previous life. So therefore, the enlightened beings, Buddha say that make sure that your future life not worse than this life. So that's why try to diminish our negative thoughts, negative actions, negative karma actually is for the future life. And then your future life will better, and then slowly like that. It takes a long time, but then at the end, you will reach your goal, which is get on mon, liberation. Then you have your capacity. Once you get there, your capacity limitless. Then you know how to help others. You know how to take care of yourself. Then, everything is like there is, So this mind has amazing qualities. Right? Even body too. If you exercise, if you train your body, it has like limitless capacity. But if we don't do anything, then we can't do anything. Same as mind. Our mind has wisdom, clarity, nature things. But if we don't train our mind, then full of this negative emotions, thoughts, ignorance, anger, we are developing this, we accumulate this negative thoughts, everything like that. So it's up to you. Don't be ignorant. Develop your wisdom to study, to learn, educate yourself, think about future. Make sure that you understand. If you have, just I said, there are more proof, but if you have at least those three proof, then you can say, I don't believe future life. Without this proof, then if you say, I don't believe future, ignorance. That is we call ignorance. Because you don't know. You don't know. But all enlightened beings knows that, that there is a future life, that there is a past life. There are many different reasons and proof, but I think especially these three sort of, things. That's the dangerous, If you don't believe your future life and then totally, totally 100% you're sure, then you would be very peaceful. There's no worry. The one thing is very bad when you think about future life and then you worry. It makes you worry and concern all your future life, all of that thing. But Buddha said it depends on this life, your future life. So you don't have to worry, but just do your best. Meditate, practice. Try to diminish your negative thoughts, negative emotions. This is what we call afflictions. That's all you need. So make sure that love, compassion, understand the true nature. Then it makes you really, this meditation, like that kind of, instructions. But yeah, I'm sure we all believe future life. Maybe we don't know, what is the reason, the proof, but usually we believe. So if we believe, then, this total length talking about actually past and future and this life. So 3 times. It's actually talking about 3 times. Past, the intermediate, this life, and then future life. That's why we have total links. Each link result of the previous link. So that's why we need to understand cause and effect, cause and karma. If there is no first link, then there is no second link, right?
So is there a stage of enlightenment of the beliefs that where you are beyond karma, where your actions...
Beyond karma, there is no bhumis, no stages.
Pardon?
No stages beyond when you get the moon, there is no stages, bhumis, okay? You're just there. You go beyond all of these stages.
All right.
But we are not there. We are not there. We are even not just the first bhumi. First bhumi has so many good qualities. We don't have that yet. We are the first path, which is accumulation path, right? If you have a bodhicitta mind, the kind mind, love, compassion, you are first path. If you don't have bodhicitta mind, we are not even the first path. We are not on the path, actually. Forget about these 10 bhumis and all of that, right? Long way. But that's not the point. The point is make sure that we are on the first path, accumulation path, which we really need to develop our bodhicitta mind. Try to diminish selfishness. That's the thing. Ego clinging. Always me, not good. Totally not good. We cannot forget totally like me, I, but at the same time we should think about others too. Okay, now we're going to meditate, short meditation, okay? We did Om, right? Om syllable. Now we are going to we tried, right? We tried to purify our body, right? Last time, our body. So now you have a pure body, pure body and lots of energy. Doesn't look, but don't be lazy. That's what I said, right? Pamasambhava says, please abandon laziness, right? So, always after lunch, it's very tired though. So now this time we're going to purify, what is this? Speech, yeah? Purify speech. Because we always say negative things, right? Malicious, what do you call it? Gossip. A meaningless talk. Come from here, as they said. Okay, so we purify our speech. Our speech become a like bhajar speech, which means like beneficial, speech. So this means we are trying to purify our uncontrolled negative speech, right? Such as that, which harms others. That's very bad, very bad. So that's what Buddhists mean by that, negative speech. So in order to do that, visualize a red syllable, a syllable, okay? A, B, C, D, a syllable. Sometimes they put a, h together, I'm not sure, he knows. Twin so whatever, probably yes, a, h together, So visualize red, very red syllable at your throat center. This is your throat center. And same thing, radiating sort of red light energy, okay? Red light energy, it symbolizes your love and kindness. The first one, what? Compassion, right? So this time, love and kindness. So whenever you speak with your love, okay? Your kindness, okay? Don't say harsh things. So recognize the red R as the pure speech, all the bodhisattvas, and then sort of light radiates from the syllable, and then the light energy goes whole your body, and your body, whole body is ready, sort of red light energy, especially your throat center, So why do we do these things? These things, for instance, when you meditate this is another like habitual. You are making habit, So when you speak to other people, you will remember, don't say negative things. So that's how we purify. Otherwise, there's nothing negative inside here, though, okay? So we have to purify our negative speech. Means when you meditate with this kind of syllables or visualizations, and then in your daily life, when you speak to other people, you will remember these things. Then it helps. Be careful. This is your mindfulness kind of, Then you remember, I have to say nice things, not bad things. So that's the point. So then you say nice things. You never harm others by your verbal action. Then you purify it. That's the thing. Then you purify it. Then you have bhajar speech. Purified. You already purified. That's the thing. So if still you meditate this, and still when you talk with others and then you say negative things, that means you are not purified. How simple as is that, So you actually know how much purify, the negative harsh words. So therefore, these things will remind you. Okay, that's why usually, as I said, we forget that we have a mind, and so then that's the reason. So if you meditate on this over and over again, and then in this way your mind become love and kindness, then you have then they called bodhisattvas. Then you become a bodhisattvas, and bodhisattva mas, female, I don't know how to say bodhisattvas, bodhisattva female, you become like that. Okay, so just relax. Okay, don't try to not sleep. Okay, and then visualize red syllable at your throat center, radiant, like red light energy goes all over your body, especially your throat center, and purified, everything like that, purified, and then you become a loving person. Few minutes, please. At the same time, then, sometimes you just relax, just to be and aware, and, attention to your awareness, and just to relax. And then sometimes try to visualize this. Sometimes no visualize, just to relax. Few minutes.